Well, it wasn't exactly a great day. If you happen to be following me on Instagram, you would have seen a picture of my RC51 down on the ground. It actually had fallen off the lift. Now, the reason I was putting it on the lift is I actually got a new rear hugger. The old rear hugger, which is on the left there, sits kind of close to my rear wheel. And the new one, which is the right one, has a slightly higher angle to give him a little more clearance. And the reason for that clearance is I have the race torque adjusters on my bike, and I love them. And unfortunately, with the combination of them and the lower caliper mount I have, to take the wheel off, I have to actually lift it up. And with that old hugger, it was interfering with it. So I'd actually have to take one of the race torque adjusters off to actually get the wheel off. So this is a solution to that problem. Now what happened was, you see down here, these adjusters are adjustable. And one of these things only tighten up hand tight, and I guess one of them wasn't quite snugged. I had them set, so I didn't realize it actually would come off. And as I was putting the bike on the rear stand, the whole thing sort of slid to one side, and it actually came off this spool, causing the bike to fall this way. And I was on the opposite side of the bike, and so it was actually falling away from me. So I was like hanging on for dear life on the tail section, trying to keep this bike from hitting the ground. And as anyone knows, all the weight in an RC51 is up here. So if I actually was at the front of the bike, I might have had a hope. Back there, I was just trying to mitigate the damage. So I fought it all the way down, and it actually came down and landed up here, very tight to the wall. I'll actually put the picture up so you can actually see it. And the first problem was the wheels were still on the stand, so I actually had to drag the stand out of the way so I could actually get the bike up. But then I discovered, with the bike so close to the wall, I couldn't get anywhere in close enough to be able to lift the bike up, so I had to call for some help. And my wife was first happy to admit that she's a wimp, and she wasn't strong enough to help much, so we actually had to call some family members who lived down the street to come down, and they had to help us lift the bike up. Like once I had a couple of people to help, it was actually quick to get it up. Of course, while all this is going on, the gas tank overflow was leaking out the back of the bike, and I had just filled the tank up, and I was planning on working on this hugger and taking it out for a ride in the next couple of days. So what was the damage? Well, the first thing was the windscreen. It actually hit the wall on the way down, so it basically shattered on impact and left a lot of razor sharp pieces of plastic all over the place. The next thing was the mirrors. The mirrors, it was folded in so you can see the scratches, but unfortunately the whole thing's all shot here. But I bought these mirrors off of Amazon, and they actually had them in stock, and by the time you see this video, I probably haven't had that fixed. The next thing that happened was my R&G bar ends, which I have on the bike. This one actually has been bent, besides being scuffed. So I've actually got that on order to replace that. Now the fairing itself, it took some damage. Like it's got a bunch of little scratches and marks on it, but it wasn't too bad considering it was laying on a textured asphalt or a textured concrete floor. The scratch here on the clutch cover is old. That's from the last time the bike fell, when I was actually on the street. The rear brake lever has actually been bent in 2 different directions, and Partzilla now actually ships to Canada. They haven't been for the last year and a half due to the CVID, and I'll actually have that part probably in about 10 days from the day the bike fell. The exhaust pipe has just a little scratch on the bottom of it, nothing special. The M4 exhaust pipe is fine. There is a scratch here in the back of the seat. I don't know how I'm going to fix that right now, but see, part of it is a sticker, so it might just be a case of just trying to trim off the little bit of damage. and just leave it as is. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. The Brembo folding levers actually folded, so they were actually okay. So it's just a case of putting it all back together. Now the question is, how long will it take? Well, I figure in about 4 or 5 days I'll have this bike back together enough to be able to ride it. Of course, the question is whether or not we'll have the weather yet. The reason I was actually working on the bike, since that last video I did about a month ago, we have had the hottest probably 3 weeks, and if it wasn't hot, it was pouring rain. In fact, yesterday it was 39 Celsius, which is over 100 Fahrenheit. And that's the reason why I decided to do the work on the bike, since I couldn't do it. I couldn't take it for a ride because I wear full leather jacket and gloves and full face helmet. So I really didn't want to bother doing that. And today, which is the day after, it's been pouring rain and thunderstorms all day. And so I knew I wasn't going to be riding the bike for that. And in the next couple of days, it's basically more of the same. Now, we don't normally get heat waves in July, so it's not unexpected, but I still would have liked to have a little more riding time this season, but it just hasn't happened around here, which sucks because in Canada, the weather is riding season is very short. So anyways, that's an update. You know, the nice thing about it is that I've kept all the old parts, like these boxes I have here, or any of the stock parts I've taken off the bike. So I actually have the stock parts to put back if I can. But it's just a few of the items like the bar ends and stuff, I have to wait for them to show up. So I might actually do a little more puttering around the bike while I'm waiting, but hopefully I will be back on the road in a week or so. So anyways, that's all I got for now. If you want to see something a little quicker, you can always follow me on Instagram, because I generally post something every few days there, or occasionally on Twitter. DeathsStalker, signing off.